Hello, Internet! I'm Elliot the Purple Hair Doofus, and welcome to Buddy Reads, where I read a small selection of a book and review it for you. Today we are covering chapters 99 through 107 of The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I hope you've read up to that point yourself, because I do not want to ruin anything for you. I'm gonna be honest, this is the only section that I've read today, so far, and the day is already over. It's past midnight. If it takes you a while to get to this section, and you need to play catch-up on my video later, I don't mind. That's completely understandable. This section is boring. It's so boring. We start with Kvothe and the Fillorian, and we stay with Kvothe and the Fillorian throughout this entire section, most of the time. But it starts with the Fillorian teaching Kvothe to kiss, because supposedly Kvothe doesn't know how to kiss. Then Kvothe has questions for the Fillorian, like, are you real? Is this really happening? And a whole bunch of other flowery language that he uses to describe her, and it's just so annoying and wrong and no. But he starts to ask her about the Chandrian, and she's like, you do not ask me about the Chandrian. You do not ask me about those fools. The next time you open your mouth and Chandrian falls out, you are gone. The Chandrian are not discussed here in my hobby horror of solitude. And then he starts talking about the differences between Fae and us. And it's so boring I start to fall asleep. This whole section I was practically dream reading. Just forcing myself to keep my eyes open, and my mind was just wandering during this entire section. So if I get anything wrong, it's because I was not captivated enough by this section. Fillorian then starts sewing Kvothe a new cloak. But she is sewing him a cloak out of shadows and using moonbeams to sew them together. And it's just like, no, you are boring. You are good. Get to exciting stuff. No. Kvothe then starts talking about how they ate, and it's just like, oh. Actually, there is one particular image that I really loved where Fillorian had been feasting so animal-like that when they would play in the river, they would play naked and she would have blood dripping from her chin and he would have blood all over his chest. That was a particularly striking image in my mind. I really liked that. But he was like questioning how he got the food. He's like, did I hunt it? Did she hunt it? Did someone bring it to us? I don't know, but I lived. Seriously? This section sucks. Kvothe tells Fillorian some tales, and she tells him some tales, and Kvothe is like, she wasn't a very good storyteller, and it's just like, I don't care. He mentions the Jax and the Moon story to Fillorian, and Fillorian's like, oh yes, that was a wonderful time. You know, that was, before that time, things were great. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's a it's a story that people tell little children. And she's like, it's okay. I know that you call them fairy tales, I know that you call them fairy stories, but that actually happened. Like, there was a time when someone stole the moon, and it started a divide, and that's why most of us fairy people live in this fae world that's adjacent to your real world, because someone stole the moon. I'm just like, So wait, Kvothe is in another world now? He's dimension hopping? What? Why? There's a lot of things that Kvothe tells Fillorian about our world, and there's a lot of things that Fillorian tells Kvothe about her world. I'm just like, I don't care. I really don't care. Keep on moving. I really struggle through this section. And then we finally get to an interesting bit. We finally get to this interesting bit where Fillorian has fled for a couple of hours to do whatever, and Kvothe is roaming around in the Fae world, and he comes across these butterfly-like people called, I'm gonna mess this up, Cthea? It's spelled like Cthulhu, but it's Cthea. These butterfly people know all about Kvothe's past, and they are basically telling him all of the horrible things that happened to him in his past. And then they start talking about the Chandrian, and I'm like, oh, good, Chandrian stuff. It's basically all of the stuff that we already know already. And it's just like, oh. They start talking about Dinah, and it's like, well, at least they know how to really push Kvothe's buttons. At least they know his trigger point. It's Dinah. They basically torture him with his memories, and Kvothe eventually just, says, this is bullshit, and he starts walking away. And he goes to the Fillorian, and Fillorian is like, you met Cthea? I'm so sorry. come to me. I want to hold you. That you should never go to the Cathaya. Never, never, never. They're awful, awful beings. They're there to trick you. You never should have met them. Oh my god. Kvothe is just kind of like, I know, it was awful. And then we finally get an interlude. We finally get a break from all this Felurian crap. It's Kvothe, Chronicler, and Baz, and they're all sitting at the table. And Baz is like, you lie! You're lying to us right now! Stop lying about the freaking Cathaya! Just stop doing it! You never met them! You never went there! I can handle everything else, but this? You do not lie about this! Never lie about this! And Kvothe is like, I wasn't lying. I didn't lie. Why would I lie? Why do you think I'm lying? I'm doing this so that I can tell my truth. Why in the world would I lie? And Baz is like, you didn't see them. You couldn't have seen them. You never saw them. If you saw them, this world is over. And Kvothe is like, what are you talking about? And Baz takes a few breaths and he's like, Cathaya are not just messing with your mind. Cathaya are incredibly powerful fairies. Cathaya can see into the future, and they can see the way that the future branches, all the ways that the future can branch from the moment that you walk up to them. Fae can control the future. They can control your mind. They can make you do things that destroys kingdoms later. And Kvothe starts remembering the story about a prince who brought a flower to a princess that he wasn't betrothed to, and how it eventually led to that kingdom's downfall. And Baz is like, yeah, where do you think he got that flower? Baz is like really scared, and that part kind of got to me. And they have like this whole like powwow hug, and Kvothe is like, I know this isn't a comedy. She says, but it's not a tragedy as long as you're still here. And I'm like, oh. Then we go back to Kvothe and Felurian, and Felurian is doing her best to comfort Kvothe, but she's never had to do that before, so she's like, do I hug you? I don't know how to touch you and not be sexual. There. Kvothe just takes a couple days, and he eventually gets out of the fog. And when he does get out of the fog, Felurian's like, hey, look, I finished your cloak of shadows. And Kvothe is like, this is great, this is warm, this is comfy, yay! Woo! And then there's like this really sad scene of him leaving a siren. And it's like, why is this sad? Why am I feeling sad for an evil being that kills people? It drives him insane. It tries to make me sad, is what I should say, but it doesn't. I just feel, hurrah! We're leaving! We're leaving her, yes! Leave her in the dust and never look back. But it teases that Kvothe has to come back to tell her, or sing her song. I'm like, ugh. So later down the line, we're going to run into her again, and I'm going to be bored to tears. But Kvothe then goes and he walks to the inn where he was supposed to meet his crew, and he sees them all sitting around at the bar. I'm telling you, it was crazy. There's lightning everywhere. And then, like, we saw this Felurian lady, and he stopped her from getting me by sacrificing himself. Oh, he was a great, great man. And everyone around them is like, that's crap. I mean, he's not the new Tathella, or whatever it was. And Kvothe is like, well, this is my perfect moment. And he walks through the door and he's like, yes, I am! And I have a new cloak and it's made of shadows. Isn't it awesome? Ha! And everyone's like, Kvothe? He walks up to the people and they welcome him back with open arms, of course. But now seeing him there, all of the other people that were listening to their tale about the run-in with the Felurian are even more skeptical. And they're like, I call bullcrap! Just like I did when I was reading the section about him surviving the Felurian. And I was like, I call bullcrap! So I'm totally on the bar patron side on this one. But he gets back and he runs into the barmaid from the first time that they ever went there, who actually hit on him until she realized that he was a virgin. And then she's like, oh no, we will not go down that road again. And she like looks in his eyes and she's like, oh my god, you've been with a woman. You're so much hotter to me. And it's like Kvothe has like seduction powers now. I don't know. And it's like, oh, you're so pretty. And she's like, ooh, let's go to bed together. And they do. And he's like, well, that was pretty much like the fun time that I had with Valorian. Yeah. It's just a little bit different than having sex with a Valorian, but not a whole lot. It's just like, oh God. I am so annoyed with how full of himself Kaboth is. But that's pretty much where the section ends. This is why I love the moments when Kaboth gets taken down a peg. Because of moments like this. When he's like, I survived a siren, it was nothing. All I did was tell her that I owed her a song. Oh God. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and click the subscribe button. If you like this video specifically, go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and leave a comment letting me know how you felt about this section, because I have to imagine that there are people out there that actually liked it. And I want to know who you are so that I can avoid you, because you're crazy people. Crazy, crazy, crazy people. I've been Alec the Purple Doofus. This has been Buddy Reads, reminding you to watch your Pajama Radius. And I will see you all in the next section of The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. Toodles!